Hey guys, so today I want to announce some major breaking news. Breaking within the Democratic primary in 2020. You've probably already heard that Elizabeth Warren, the Democratic senator from Massachusetts, has formed an exploratory kind of presidential campaign. And while she hasn't officially announced that she will run, almost that pretty much means that she is running for the presidency of the United States. This is major breaking news. The first kind of so-called front runner to announce that she will run in 2020. And so this definitely is quite a big development happening within the last couple of days, that Elizabeth Warren will in fact make a run for the presidency. I wouldn't call her any kind of favorite to win that Democratic nomination. There was a Des Moines Register / CNN poll that came out with the Iowa Democratic presidential caucuses. Came out a few weeks ago. It had Joe Biden leading at the top, 13 points among rivals like Bernie Sanders and Beto O'Rourke. Elizabeth Warren down in the number 4 slot. I do feel she might be slightly overestimated. At the same time, I feel that people like Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, Amy Klobuchar would also be people who are slightly overrated. And then people like, I feel like Bernie Sanders and Beto O'Rourke are slightly underrated. Elizabeth Warren, probably a bit overrated in terms of where the media and where the polls put her. But even then, it's not great news looking into her in winning that Democratic nomination. She's definitely not the favorites. The two favorites would be Joe Biden, definitely, and then also Bernie Sanders. I actually see it being kind of a three-way race between Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, and Beto O'Rourke, with I do believe that Joe Biden would be a slight favorite to go on and win that nomination. So, Iowa Democratic caucuses, definitely something that can gain momentum for one particular candidate. So what we're going to do today, we're going to go through a 2020 election prediction between Elizabeth Warren, given she just announced that she was going to run, and of course versing President Trump. Look at that poll, and there's also one other poll. I don't have the link for it right now, but it actually showed that Elizabeth Warren was losing in her home state. Definitely not something to be proud of in that sense. So we're going to do an election prediction, and we'll analyze this poll of 2020 Democrats. And one final footnote, there are a few people who have already pretty much denounced, if I can find them, John Delaney of Maryland. He has announced that he will be running. Definitely probably not going to win that Democratic nomination. Richard Ojeda also announced that he is running. Definitely odds are not on him to win that nomination. And also, where is he? Trying to find him. Oh, where is he? That's right, Julian Castro of Texas. He has announced that he will, just like Elizabeth Warren, doing an exploratory campaign committee. So officially, those who have announced on the Democratic side who actually have any kind of a chance of winning, who are kind of already there. Of course, there are random people that put themselves on that list, but those would be John Delaney of Maryland, Richard Ojeda of West Virginia, Julian Castro of Texas, and Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. Warren, the most likely to go on and win that nomination out of those four. So we're going to be doing a 2020 election prediction, and I'll stop blabbering right now. So let's go into safe and toss-up. So Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, I would all classify as safe. Illinois, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, the District of Columbia, New York, Vermont, and that first district in the state of Maine. I would all classify those states as safe for Elizabeth Warren. Now for the president, Alaska, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, most of Nebraska. I'll come back to the second district. Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, I will put into the safe column. Elizabeth Warren not the one to win in Texas. Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and West Virginia. So we start off 183 electoral votes for Elizabeth Warren, 163 for President Trump. So go into the likely, leaning, and toss-up states right now. So New Mexico, I see that one likely to go towards Elizabeth Warren. I could make a strong case for it to be in the safe, but it did go Republican in 2004, and Elizabeth Warren isn't the kind of candidate who can lock New Mexico up. Not someone like a Beto O'Rourke, a Joe Biden, a Bernie Sanders. Not someone like that. So New Mexico in the likely Democratic column. Arizona, I'm going to make a big call. I think that it could narrowly go into the likely GOP column. Elizabeth Warren, definitely not the kind of person to appeal to these Latino voters in that state. Colorado, I would put into the leaning Democratic column. Again, Warren, not the kind of person to appeal to those voters in the states, but unless Democrats put up a uniquely bad candidate in 2020, Colorado would probably stay in Democratic hands. Nevada, I see that one being very close, but at the end of the day, I see Elizabeth Warren with that Democratic title by her name narrowly getting her over the edge in the state of Nevada. So, where do we stand? 203 electoral votes for Elizabeth Warren, 172 for Trump. Now, in that 2nd district of Nebraska, I see that one going towards the president. Definitely Warren, not the kind of person to win that 2nd district in the likely GOP column. Same thing with that 2nd district in Maine. I'm going to put that in the leaning GOP column. I think Warren can tighten the gap from where Clinton had it because she is from the Northeast in that New England area, but I still think it won't be enough to get her over the line in that 2nd congressional district. So we have 203 electoral votes for Elizabeth Warren, 176 for Trump. Where can Trump make up the lead? Now, an area I think Trump can do quite well in is the South. I think he can carry North Carolina and Georgia. These are traditionally Republican states, and they're not going to flip for someone like an Elizabeth Warren. I see the only person who can really have a good chance at flipping those two states by appealing to the African American vote population would be someone like a Joe Biden, maybe Cory Booker, but even then, I still don't think that someone like that would even relatively appeal to those kind of bases. Same thing in Florida. I do not see Warren coming with a victory in Florida. I see Mr. Trump holding on to a victory there. Virginia, establishment Democratic state, so probably won't be as heavy of a margin for Elizabeth Warren given she is one of the 2 most progressive senators in the country. I still think that her Democratic enthusiasm will outweigh that and put it into the leaning Democratic column. So, let's just fill in the New England states. So New Hampshire, I see that one going to Elizabeth Warren, mainly because, yes, she is from Massachusetts. And then in that 2nd district of Maine, again, Elizabeth Warren probably going to win here, especially considering she is from the area. She can appeal to the voters better than Clinton did, and even Clinton had it almost in that likely margin. So, 222 for Elizabeth Warren, 236 for Trump. Where can Warren make up the lead? Where can Warren catch up to Trump? She can catch up to him in places like the state of Minnesota. I think Minnesota, again, one of the most Democratic state in all of these areas, out of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Minnesota. Minnesota would be the most Democratic. So that I see Warren winning in that state. But I see Trump winning Iowa and Ohio, and I see him winning those 2 states because he can appeal to that voting population. Again, Warren will cut it much closer than Clinton did it, but I still think Trump could edge out a victory there. So it comes down to Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, the 3 states that also decided the 2016 presidential election. So 260 for Trump, 232 for Warren. Warren needs to sweep these states in order to win. And a good first step is to make up 20 electoral votes in Pennsylvania. I see her winning this state. Democrats picked up an enormous amount of congressional districts, even though the districts were a bit more in their favor this time round. I still think that Democrats did tremendously well they held on to the Senate seat, they held on to a governorship, they picked up, I believe, 4 or 5 House seats. Definitely something that Democrats can be proud of there in Pennsylvania. Another state I see them carrying, the state of Michigan. I see Michigan going for Elizabeth Warren. Again, Warren is perceived as a real fighter for that middle class, and whether that's true or not, the voters do believe that, and I see Michigan going to Warren. So it all comes down to Wisconsin. So if Trump wins it, he wins the electoral map, and then if Warren wins it, she will win. And I see this one breaking the rest of the Rust Belt and going for Trump. And I think that these 3 states are going to be unbelievably close, especially Wisconsin and Michigan. But I think that Democrats, they didn't do as well in Wisconsin. They didn't pick up a House seat that they had a good chance to win. They did pick up a governorship, but I still think that there's enough of that Trump base to get him slightly over the line in the state of Wisconsin. So that's it for the electoral map. We have 270 electoral votes for Mr. Trump, 268 for Elizabeth Warren. She narrowly loses the general election to Mr. Trump. So next we're going to go over to the polling. So let's see. So Elizabeth Warren now all the way down in 4th place with just 8% of that primary vote. Not a great sign going into 2020, especially considering that some of these more establishment candidates like Joe Biden, some of their vote may be going to other establishment candidates like Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Michael Bloomberg, and Amy Klobuchar. So these people, all these people probably will drop out, especially people like Booker, Bloomberg, and Klobuchar. And their vote would go to someone like a Joe Biden, and then Kamala Harris, and Elizabeth Warren's vote would go to Bernie Sanders, and then Kamala Harris's vote would go to Joe Biden, making it a 3-horse race. Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Beto O'Rourke. Definitely Elizabeth Warren should be concerned that her polling numbers aren't higher. I think that Elizabeth Warren may have made slightly a mistake to run because she is splitting some of that more progressive vote to someone like that, because this vote would have definitely gone almost all to Bernie Sanders. And she may not be doing her friend any good by running and splitting that progressive vote. But again, there is a path to her winning. I think that path would be if Bernie Sanders doesn't decide to run. If Bernie Sanders is running and Elizabeth Warren is running, I don't see Elizabeth Warren actually going on and winning that Democratic nomination. So yeah, that's where we stand. Not a great picture. It's not all roses for Elizabeth Warren going into 2020, but definitely she is someone that you should keep an eye on, and she does have a chance to win the nomination. And some of these other individuals like Cory Booker, Michael Bloomberg, Amy Klobuchar, not favorites to go on and win that nomination. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down your suggestions below, and I'll see you all in the next one. So right before I go, this video was about the major breaking news. Elizabeth Warren is running for president, or is extraordinarily likely to run for president. So yeah, that's it. Peace.